everybody, my name is John Proulx and I'm excited to show you how to take a simple hymn like Amazing Grace and transform it into the gospel style using 3 techniques. We're going to be using what's called a walk-up, we're going to be using the swing feel, and we're going to be using some chord extensions or reharmonization. So let's get started. Okay, so when you see a song like Amazing Grace and it's in a hymnal or a book that's written very plainly, what you'll see is something like this. That sounds perfectly fine, but what I like to do is to take something that's simple and add some color to it. So I'm going to play this through once as I've changed all these things, and then I'm going to talk about the techniques, and then we're going to get to play it together. So here we go. So it adds a little bit of bluesiness to it. There's some interesting chord changes in there. The rhythm is changed, and we have this walk-up thing. So those are the 3 things we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. Let's go back to the top of the document here. The first thing that we see is in the second bar, we see this. So you hear how the bass is walking up. So we're going from F to B flat. And so if a bass player was playing that, naturally, it would feel like, okay, I want to get up to that note. So they would walk up to the note. And then the nice thing to do if you hear the bass player doing that is to say, okay, what if I harmonized each one of those notes that walk up? So we have an F here, and then that is like a G minor 7 chord, and then this is a 5 of B flat. F7 is 5 of B flat, but A is in the bass. So it creates this very nice motion with chords that are harmonized to get to the 4 chord. And so that is called the walk up, and there actually is a document that we're going to jump to right now to talk about an exercise that you can use to work on these walk up exercises. So this one starts is 5 of F. So each one of these starts on the 5 chord and works up to that. So this is something that you can practice. So for example, we'd go from C to F. And then we go up a 4th and do the same thing going to B flat. And then do the same thing with B flat to E flat. And then E flat to A flat. Etc. So you can be practicing these things, and it's a great way to, especially when it's the interval of a 4th. So we're going up a 4th and we're walking up to that. So let's go back to the original document now and look at the next part of the song, which after the walk-up. Now first of all, do you hear that little, there's a little grace note there, that C to the D. And that's just something that, again, adds a little bluesiness to it, and rather than just playing the chord like that, you add a little grace note, whole step down from the 3rd. And then the next chord is the 1 chord, right? But here's our first chord that's a little bit more jazzy, and this is this chord here. Ooh, really cool, right? And so if you look ahead at the next chord, we have a D minor 7, which is, again, I've reharmonized this. Instead of going back to the 1, we're going to the 6 chord. And so whenever we choose a new chord that we're reharmonizing, oftentimes what they'll do is put a 5 chord in front of that. So if we're going to D minor in measure 23, then the 5 chord, 5 of D minor, is A7. And so you see a lot of that. They call that temporarily tonicizing something when you go 5-1, even if it's not really a 1 chord, because we're in the key of F, right? And D minor is not 1, but it's acting as a 1 because we're putting a 5 chord in front of it. So that's the theory behind it. So we go from here to our D minor 7, and then, oh, look at this, another walk up. We're going from G to C. Now this is a beautiful chord right here because we're not resolving the chord yet. We're not going, that's the 5 chord, right? And that sounds fine, but again, in jazz, what we like to do is delay gratification as much as possible. So we wait, okay, now we've resolved. So the right hand's playing the 9th, the 11th, which is the sus, the 7th, and the root. And if you take out the root, the right hand is actually playing what looks like a B flat major triad over C. So whenever you see a sus chord, if it says C9 sus, for example, one quick way of doing it is to go down a whole step from that 5 chord and play a major triad. So it's a B flat major triad over C. And then look, we have another walk-up chord here in 27. So we're going C, D minor 7, C over E, and then to measure 27, which is the F major. Now we could have just stayed on F and then to the B flat, but I love what's called inner voices in music, where we have these parts that are moving underneath the melody. And in this case, we're going from a major chord to a major 7 chord and then to the dominant. Do you hear that inner line? It's this. Da, da, da. Anytime I can add another melody, or what's called a counter melody, I love to put that into pieces. So that's the theory behind this. So we have, now here's another walk up. Look at that, F7, G minor, F over A to our B flat. And there's our little bluesy grace note. Now instead of just going to the 1 chord, I put in the substitution there, which is the 3 chord, and then going to the 6 chord, which is D7. And if you look at the left hand, there's that triplet adding to the bluesiness of it. So now we're at bar 31, and we're at the 2 chord, G minor 7, which again in jazz, we love 2 5 1s. And if you look at measure 31, 32, and 33, we have 2, and then almost to the 1, but eventually we get to the 1. But we have this 2 chord at 31, which is G minor 7, and then we have, there's our sus chord again. Do you hear that? Da, that's the sus. So we have 7, 9, sus, 13. So it's called a C13 sus. And then we resolve finally to the C7. And now here, listen to this. It's some kind of walk, but it's not walking up. What is it? It's walking down. And it's going from the 4 chord, which is B flat, to 1, and that's called a plagal cadence. It's also, they refer to that as the amen chord, because oftentimes hymns will end with amen or 4-1, plagal cadence. And it's nice when you can walk down 4, 1 over 3, 2 minor, 1. And then besides the walk up exercise, we also have a walk down exercise that you can practice as well, which again is going from the 4 chord to the 1 chord. So in this case, we have an F and we're going down to C. And there's even a little grace note added in there for you. Then you can go up to B flat, do the same thing. And then E flat. And then A flat. And keep that going. So that's a great exercise that you can use to work all the way through the keys so that you're really comfortable with that. So with Amazing Grace, we're going to talk about swung eighth notes, meaning that rather than having straight eighths, which are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to swing the eighths or think about triplets as the underlying rhythm. So we're going to be thinking of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but then we're going to take out the middle triplet. So it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, like that. So one thing I want to talk about is the last 4 bars of the song, and we have these interesting rhythms that are different in both hands. So if you look at bar 31, for example, we have this G minor 7, and in the right hand we have this, which is the the eighth notes. But in the left hand, you have this interesting triplet happening at the same time. So we need to figure out how to kind of coordinate that together. So if we're doing it rhythmically, we'd say 1, 2, 3, and so what we have to think about with the right hand is that even though there's 2 eighth notes, really we're thinking of the right hand as triplets. So we have the first triplet and the last triplet. So that actually lines up with the last triplet of the left hand. So let me break that down again. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 1. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 1. So that's how we would play that. I know it's confusing because it looks like 2 against 3, but really, since we're playing this in the triplet rhythm, they line up exactly. And then the last rhythm that's a little bit tricky is the left hand in the last bar of the song. So it's up until this point we've been doing triplets, but there are a couple 16th notes in here. So again, 16th notes are 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a. So if we're going 1E and a 2, 3, 1E and a 2, 3. So let's just practice that, just the left hand. Here we go. And 1E and a 2, 3. And then put them together, it would sound like this. 1E and a 2, 3. Again. 1E and a 2, 3. One more time for good luck. 1E and a 2, 3. So now we're going to play the last 4 measures all together so we can put it in context here. So this is bar 31. Everybody together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. So now that we've played through this, or we've kind of explained and played little parts of this, let's try playing it all together. I'm going to play it through, well, let's just all play it through together 2 times, all the way through. And maybe we'll go a little bit slower, about that same tempo we were just playing. And we'll try it all together. Here we go. About this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Great job, everybody. So you can use this technique on any song that you can think of, and one that comes to mind is Happy Birthday. So you could do something like this. So I hope you had fun with this, and please, you can use this on any other song you can think of, and it's great, some great techniques. Happy practicing.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the lesson, be sure to check out pianowithjohnny.com. We have over 1,000 step-by-step lessons for all playing levels, where you'll learn your favorite songs, styles, and how to improvise at the piano. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.